Hello there, lovely. Good morning and welcome to Camnet TV Breakfast Show, where we urge you to rise and thrive on a Tuesday as you choose you. My name is Joe Smarter Nelson. Good morning.
Good morning, Joe, and it is a very chilly weather. We continue to actually dive into
London in Lusaka.
London in Lusaka, and definitely, as on behalf of the Single Men Association of Zambia, please, I'd like to encourage you to ensure that you remain safe and put on those clothes that will keep you warm. You know, the economy is biting, so it's very important that you look at all these things. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing, Joe? What's the matter?
No.
I was speaking on behalf of Single Men Association.
I was caught unaware there.
You forgot that you're the president of the
I'm the president of the association.
Exactly. I'm encouraging my members out there. Eh?
Okay.
Because I know my technician upstairs is not one of the members. So I think one of the video editors, such as Elas Chidela, yes, he's one of my good members.
Okay.
That needs to
Bona fide member.
Exactly. That needs to actually adapt to this message. But hey, on a serious note, let's make sure that we keep warm, because the weather also comes with a lot of health complications. Because
for real,
this is a time when you have maybe a lot of cases relating to pneumonia, coughs, flu, and everything. So it's very important.
Okay. Yeah, like Nelson has said, you've heard it for yourselves. Singles Association of Zambia president giving his opening remarks there. Please take heed to the president's advice, the president of the Association of Single People. Okay, talking about the cold weather coming with its own health complications. Your health is your wealth. Let's go to the health corner.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakuyana Mfaya. So this week we are talking about prostate cancer, and this Saturday on the 4th of February we are going to be commemorating World Cancer Day. Yesterday we talked about what prostate cancer is, and we say that it's a cancer of the prostate gland that is found in men. And the prostate gland helps to produce semen, but when there is accelerated cell growth in the prostate, more than the cells are dying in the prostate, then you have a tumor that is formed, which we call cancer. So today we'll talk about the types of prostate cancer. But before we talk about the types, I will also highlight some of the risk factors that come about, or some of the risk factors that people would have that would predispose them or make them to be more susceptible to have prostate cancer. So the first thing is that prostate cancer is genetic. So there's some mutations that take place in a person who has prostate cancer. So you might find that as the cells are dying and other cells are growing and the growth of those cells is accelerated, it can cause some mutations in certain genes that can make the prostate to grow bigger than it usually is. So you end up having mutations in certain genes, and so the genetic aspect of it is that it can be accelerated because you have certain genes probably that you have inherited from your family members that were there before you, from your grandparents, your parents. So when those genes are activated, they can cause you to have prostate cancer. Then also the other thing is that if you have a family history of people that have cancer, whether it's females or males, if you have a family history of someone that had breast cancer in the family, you are also likely to also develop prostate cancer. And if you have family members that had prostate cancer itself, then even the likelihood increases of you having prostate cancer. Then the other thing is that age. Age also predisposes people to have prostate cancer. So for people who are 65 years and older, they are more likely to develop prostate cancer because of the age and how the body functions at that age. Then the other thing that can predispose someone to have prostate cancer is diet and inactivity. So if you are eating foods that are not good for you, you're eating mostly saturated fats, foods that have so much fat, foods that have so much sugar, you are also likely to develop prostate cancer. The other thing is inactivity. If you're not active, you're not keeping your body active, you're not exercising, then you're also increasing your likelihood of developing prostate cancer. Then for people who are also not active, they might also have obesity. So they might become overweight and obese, and that's also a risk factor for prostate cancer, among other conditions that obesity comes with. So those are some of the risk factors that someone needs to look out for you to say that you could have or likelihood of developing prostate cancer. So what are the types of prostate cancer? There are two major types. Most of the times, people who have prostate cancer would have what we call adenocarcinoma. It's the most common type of prostate cancer. And the other one is squamous cell carcinoma. So these are more technical things that people might not really understand, but you just need to know that two major types of prostate cancer, and most people have adenocarcinoma, which is mostly 90% of people who have prostate cancer would have adenocarcinoma type of cancer. So we'll also highlight how these cancers can be treated in another day. So be sure to watch the breakfast show here on Camnet TV. So today we're learning that some of the risk factors that can cause one to have cancer are that if you have a family history, a strong family history of cancer, or if you're at the age of 65 years and above, and also if you're obese and overweight, or if your diet and is not good, you're taking too many fatty foods and too much sugary foods, or if you do not exercise or keep active, you're at risk of having prostate cancer. So make sure that you watch tomorrow's episode again to know what are some of the signs and symptoms of prostate cancer. Thank you for watching.
Okay, thank you so much for still joining us. Now, that was our resident doctor. They are giving us an update on what to look out for when it comes to prostate cancer. Now, we go into our money markets, from health to money. Money is very important, Nelson.
Definitely, and there you have it on your screen. What we're able to tell is the fact that the United States dollar has maintained at a selling point, which is selling at 26.85 Ngwe. As of yesterday, the case was still the same, and it is buying at 26.33 Ngwe. The euro is buying at 28.21 Ngwe and selling at 28.77 Ngwe. The South African rand is buying at 1.40 Ngwe and selling at 1.43 Ngwe. The Great British Pound is buying at 32.94 Ngwe and selling at 33.59 Ngwe. And the update exactly comes to you at the time at 0716. And remember that these exchange rates, they vary from one bank to bank, but much of the talk really is going to be based on the United States dollar states of affairs, simply because everybody is talking about the dollar. When you walk into that shop, the first thing they'll tell you, especially from the shopkeepers themselves, if you are told that a particular price for this particular product has been increased, they'll tell you dollar ya kwela, and these are some of the trickle effects that really come with such a narrative. And one of the concerns really has been the fact that we've seen that the kwacha has continued to fluctuate against these major convertibles, but really what does it mean for the country's cost of living, cost of doing business? I think this is a conversation that we shall delve into detail on a Friday as we focus to speak all issues relating to business. And glad that you're glued to Camnet TV, channel 25 on Go TV, channel 274 on DSTV, as well as Facebook and YouTube. And we'll be glad to hear from you in terms of what you think should be the way forward to ensure that we stabilize our culture, even as we await to have a discussion with one of the teacher unions in the studios at that particular time. But right about now, we get to zoom in the headlines or one of the stories that you might have missed as of yesterday.
Before we go to our stories, there hasn't been much activity regarding the kwacha against other major convertible currencies, especially the United States dollar.
Oh yes.
Yeah, is it because yesterday was a public holiday and we anticipate a change starting from today moving forward? Maybe at the close of business it will go to a mature adult of 27 kwacha.
Well, I think that is a prediction that Joe maybe is trying to fuse in. Yeah, but business really is a factor in this case, because yesterday we did observe the KK Day, which fall on the 28th of April. And 28th of April in this case was a Sunday. So automatically it meant that Monday was going to be a holiday, so that people also get to observe this day in honor of the founding president of this country, who did so much, Joy, if you ask me, because those are some of the stories that we've actually been told, especially from the people that were there at the time, the people that were under his rule, the people that were able to benefit. And talking about just benefiting, even we today as we conversate, we are beneficiaries, because Zambia got its independence in 1964, and that is one thing that we are able to attest to, because we are independent, and it is one of the testimonies that we shall continue to live on and talk about even in the next generations.
True, we are independent, and of course we are a peaceful country. We have been peaceful and united since 1964, and prior to 1964 or pre-independence, was still united as a country, though it was Northern Rhodesia, and we had to come together. That's another story for another day.
Definitely.
But before all these colonial borders came through, that's the reason why on the Zambian side, when you go to the northwestern part of Zambia, you find that on the Zambian side we have Solwezi, on the Congo side we have Kolwezi. Same people demarcated by an imaginary border by somebody who came with a boat from somewhere to come and demarcate the African continent. But obviously this took place in 1884 during the scramble for Africa. When the borders were created and all. However, we still remain united as Zambians, and we still keep on accommodating our brothers and sisters from other neighboring countries. Like they continue also to accommodate us as Zambians as we go to South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Angola, and Achimwene across the border of Malawi, Kenya as well, Tanzania. So we still remain brothers and sisters in Africa. But when you talk about KK, I hope and pray that what is obtaining right now, or what has panned out in the subsequent years leading to today, or during his birthday, a commemoration of his day, he can be a proud man, seeing what Zambia has gone through and what Zambia has tried to achieve and still continues to aspire to achieve. He must be comforted that maybe, just maybe, we might be on a positive trajectory where our children's children will be happy to inherit this particular country.
But for me, really, Joe, my concern would be, are we really living up to the vision or the ways of KK? Because one would ask to say, there was a point we saw much of concern coming in from the locals that, look, these are foreign brothers and sisters. They've come into the country and they're almost taking over all local businesses that were meant for Zambians. For instance, if you talk about chicken rearing, almost all the foreigners also were coming into the party in the name of being investors.
I think we should be able to differentiate when we say a foreigner. Who is a foreigner, really? For me, I believe if somebody comes from outside Zambia within the African continent, that shouldn't even be, that person or individual shouldn't be considered a foreigner. But for the sake of for argument's sake, yes, we can call them foreigners. However, like I said earlier, that all these borders we have, they were created by people who imposed them on us. You get, that's the reason why when you go to Barotseland, the western side of Zambia, you will discover that there are Lozi-speaking people on the western side of Zambia. Then there's what is known as Kapirivi between Namibia and Zambia. There are Lozi-speaking people on the other side of Namibia. Oh, yes. And that part is considered to be Namibia, right? Lozi-speaking people. So, that language is predominantly spoken that side. So you see that these were the same people, but somebody said, your cousin belongs this side, you on the other hand belong this side, and we're going to demarcate this area. So are you going to call that person a foreigner? Okay, that's another discussion or debate for another day. But the concern that comes in is when you see somebody coming all the way as far as Europe, just come and rear chickens here, just come and engage in illegal activities like the scam that was unearthed by our hard-working men and women in uniform. Collectively, investigative wings uncovered a scam where unsuspecting Zambians were employed, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, to scam unsuspecting fellow citizens. So that in itself raises a lot of questions, and the laws that we have as a country, like I keep on saying, Nelson, like I said yesterday, and I'll keep on saying it, we do have institutions mandated to restore law and order in this country. However, we've taken up a path where we have created strong men and weak institutions. One man having so much power, one woman having so much power, and leaving the institutions to be lacking behind, like you were saying yesterday when you talk about the fight against corruption, not having the necessary tools to fight corruption. So that's why we've missed it. And when you talk about a foreign national, who is a foreign national really, and when you talk about them getting our businesses, I think that's the argument in some neighboring countries that we have seen. You remember xenophobia?
Yes, xenophobic attack.
Xenophobic attacks and all. The argument was foreign nationals have come in here to come and get our jobs. Look, if you are going to, as local people, you are going to invest in charcoal burning, invest in selling vegetables, tomatoes, onions, on a small scale, pakantemba, at a kiosk. You can't blame somebody who comes all the way from another country who has the same skin as yours to come and invest in this shop, and they are consistent, they work hard, and then you start saying they are getting our jobs. I think that's not fair, and when it comes to a fellow African, should be treated as a brother or sister, because you know the stories, and we know it's documented that some of our grandparents used to come from down south to come and settle here. So who's a foreigner at the end of the day? You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a conversation that definitely also requires a lot of argument, if you ask me. But let's get to look at one of the stories that we had in our bulletin as of last night, where some charcoal traders in Lusaka's Kanyama compound have appealed to government to rescind its decision to ban the issuance of charcoal production permits in Central Province for fear of their businesses being affected in the absence of any alternatives. We get to look at this story and we'll be back on the other end.
Charcoal production has for the longest period in Zambia been a lucrative business among many citizens across the country. The business has seen many families attain a livelihood for decades, especially in light of the high unemployment levels in the country. However, the continuance of this seemingly popular business in many compounds has come into question, especially with government through the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment banning the issuance of charcoal production permits in Central Province. This decision, made against the backdrop of load shedding and the dwindling economy, has raised concern among the beneficiaries of this activity. Charcoal traders in Lusaka's Kanyama compound have bemoaned this development, further calling for the government to withdraw this decision as it will negatively impact their livelihood. In an interview with Camnet News, Gertrude Mulavya, a charcoal trader in Kanyama compound, says charcoal trading has been a source of income for many years and laments how she would fend for her family in absentia of charcoal production. Another trader, Isaac Piri, says government does not have the capacity to provide employment for all citizens, hence residents have resorted to this business to sustain themselves. Meanwhile, another trader says climate change should not be the basis of arriving at this decision, but rather government should consider the broader impacts of this development.
tisungira abana mu malashi tisonkera manyumba mu malashi manje bakalesa tizamba kutya cyane ngati ntawe yakwana mulungu kuchimebi mvula ya saloki nisocha bere ko batirese mitengo batirese kugulisa malashi.
Though noble the decision may appear to be, especially considering the dire effects of climate change on the country, government should, before taking further action, weigh both the positive and negative impacts of this decision to suit the plight of citizens. Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka.
Issues there of relating to charcoal burning permits being put on hold in Central Province of this country, and now we're seeing a reaction from some traders in Kanyama compound that are saying in an absence of an alternative business or any solution that is going to be brought on the table, this should not actually be the case, and government should look at measures that are going to ensure that everybody is incorporated and look at a win-win situation. Joe?
Of course, and I agree with my mother there, my brothers there in Kanyama. I agree with their concerns. There are no jobs when you talk about the industrial area. Like he said, it's true.
Oh yeah,
it's true. You have to be on the ground. You have to really go on the ground and mingle with the ordinary citizen. That's when you know
what is happening.
What is happening, and wake up to the realities of this current economic situation Zambia has found itself in. Now, youths, women, men were told you'll be given, for instance, licenses. You partner with a foreign national to trade in Mukula, to trade in Mukula trade. You partner with a foreign national to run a particular mine, or if you discover copper deposits in your area, you form a cooperative and then you begin to benefit. However, when you go on the ground, the reality is totally different from the pronouncements that were made pre-2021. Now, if you're going to say you are halting charcoal permits, then you have to find an alternative way of how those people are going to sustain themselves. You are affecting lives, you are affecting families, and we know, yes, there are issues of climate change, but have we seen any deliberate program from the ministry that is in charge of giving out charcoal permits to deliberately Nelson, for instance, plant trees, 1,000 trees, 2,000 trees, deliberately. Because we know when you head towards Mumbwa or when you head towards Barosiland, you discover that most of the trees have been cut down.
And for
It's
me,
a sorry sight.
And for me, really, Joe, the issue is we tend to have good laws, but we do lack implementation. For instance, there's a law that requires a particular portion of charcoal to be transported, but each day, go to Great North Road, you will find a truck laden with bags of charcoal. And then you tend to ask a question to say, where are the law enforcement agencies? How do these people get to pass by those checkpoints that have been put?
My point exactly. We have created strong men overseeing weak institutions. For instance, even if you get a chair to stand in America, or you get a chair and put it as president, that economy will still function for the next 8 years. You get my point? It's because they have strong laws governing that particular country. Why are we failing to do that? We have the laws in place. Why do we see vehicles laden with charcoal bags crossing these checkpoints? Why do we keep on seeing that, Nelson? You get. But that's not even an issue. The issue is, if that mother in Kanyama is going to be restricted from trading in charcoal business, what's the alternative? Are you going to give her a license to say, since you have been in the charcoal business for so long, you understand the business of cutting down trees, here's a license. Can you partner? We found a partner for you. Partner with this foreign national, begin to trade in Mukula. Up to now, the ban on Mukula is still there. 2 years, 6 months, today is the last day. 2 years, 7 months of the UPND being in government, we still have a ban on Mukula. What is really happening? We need to know. If you make a pronouncement, we'll keep on reminding you and we'll keep on following up on that pronouncement, and you have to fulfill that particular pronouncement. People are still waiting. What is really happening? The Mukula that has been confiscated, where is it? If it's there, can it be, when is it going to be sold? So that monies can be collected and taken to Control 99, so that this country can be able to benefit. But yes, I feel for my brothers, I feel for my sisters, for those residents of Kanyama, Nelson. You know, when you're used to a certain kind of trade and then you're told to stop, your life comes to a standstill. So if somebody deliberately, in fact, if government deliberately comes up with a policy to say, okay, fine, no more charcoal burning, but this is the alternative. You get. Not everybody knows how to read and write. I stand to be corrected, but illiteracy levels, I think I still have 53.3% illiteracy levels. That's meaning people that can't read and write in Zambia right now, 53.3% of Zambia's population. So what are you telling me? Are you going to tell me that everyone is going to fill out that CEEC form application?
It is like you are standing on two legs and then all of a sudden you are being told that you need to start learning to stand on one leg. And you can imagine the process of just adapting.
How do you adapt?
How do you adapt? And business-wise now, you are looking at, when you are venturing into a business, you look at your specialty.
Exactly.
So if I do this business, I'm going to thrive in it, despite the hurdles that I might face, but I'm going to know or have means of how I'm going to survive.
Just like there are different professionals. Some have decided to become pilots, some have decided to become accountants, some have decided to become engineers, some have decided to be journalists, because at the end of the day, we are not math enthusiasts. So,
but we do think,
of course, critically actually.
Thank you.
So at the end of the day, even when it comes to giving people opportunities, you need to identify them. Me, for instance, I personally, I was thinking, Nelson, that even the Constituency Development Fund, seeing that it's going to be increased this year to 30.6 million kwacha, deliberately ministry should be able to identify, okay, these are involved in charcoal, burning charcoal, selling, they trade in charcoal. Okay, since we're putting a restriction on this, on the payments of charcoal, this is an alternative. You get my point?
Exactly.
This is an alternative. Even those that are, for instance, in the civil service, you encourage them to form cooperatives. At the end of the day, they'll be able to run their own school, they'll be able to run their own banks, they'll be able to run their own clinics or hospitals, as it were. But you find that what our young people are encouraged to do is bricklaying, plumbing, plastering, rearing chickens. How many people are going to rear chickens? And who's going to buy from who? When you are also competing with some foreign nationals who've come all the way from their countries, outside Africa, that is, to come and rear chickens here in Zambia, to come and mount blocks here in Zambia, and you're calling those people investors, and those are supposed to be jobs that are supposed to be given to the local people to empower them, but the opposite is happening. So for you to understand the realities that and the challenges that members of the public are passing through, you need to do such community stories, obviously, that Camnet carried out, and you as a citizen, you need to be on the ground and interact with an ordinary citizen on the street. Then you're going to understand what people are going through. However, we do have a story now, so. Now, a veteran politician has advised politicians aspiring for presidency to emulate founding President Kenneth Kaunda's zeal of promoting peace, love, and unity. Former Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Honorable Bob Chinga, tells Camnet News that it is worrying that some politicians are focused on politics of character, assassination, and tribe, going against the One Zambia, One Nation motto pioneered by the founding president. His remarks follows the centenary celebrations of the life of the late president, which falls on 28th April annually and was declared a national holiday in 2021. We do have a clip. Join us on the other side.
God is hearing me. I can never sell out Africa. Never. Not me. Not these boys here. Not these girls here. We are men and women of principle. We have done all these things in search of peace, but it has to be genuine peace, based on sincere, genuine majority rule. Anything else, you can kill us. Zambians will be born out of our blood, will continue to fight.
A life world over, either in the position of influence or not, is still admired even when he is no more. Many locals pay homage to his selfless efforts for the growth of Zambia, such as the full utilization of the country's key economic sectors, such as the mines and agriculture. On 24th October 1964, Zambia gained its independence, with Dr. Kenneth Kaunda being the country's first president. However, in recent years, the country has seen a ton of challenges in areas such as the economy, governance, and politics, among others, which have affected the well-being of Zambian citizens. The founding president is known for various developmental projects and unity. Just like one of his sayings, we are all equal before God, and we should respect our differences as we share our common humanity. In celebrating Zambia's founding president, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda's centenary birthday, former Minister of Commerce and Trade and Industry under the Michael Chilufya-Sata's administration, Bob Chinga, has advised politicians aspiring for presidency to emulate the founding president's promotion of love, peace and unity, regardless of region.
Fathers, and in particular President Kaunda, is the need for national unity. You probably have heard the song, Tihende Pamozi Ndinti Maumo, and I think it says One Zambia, One Nation, One Zambia. And in that particular period, there was a lot of intermarriage. You know, remember we came from tribes in terms of the provinces. We came mostly, when people came to the cities because of the education and so on and so forth, we started to intermarry quite a lot. So a lot of you, your generation, rather than my generation, and subsequent generations, they are coming from different parts of the country. Mother comes from southern province, father comes from northern. Mother comes from Wapula, the father comes from eastern province. And somebody comes from northwestern province, and the other one is from southern province. Because of that intermarriage, I think that there was a certain level of cohesiveness.
The former cabinet minister also highlights the need to place national interest above self-interest when dealing with issues that affect the welfare of citizens in the country. He says patriotism should be a priority even when at business negotiation tables on behalf of the country.
Nation, and which is our national slogan, as it were. So I really think we must pay tribute to the founding father. They were really more nationalistic. I can think of people like the Bulawayo's of this world. I can think of people like the Maiza Chonas of this world. I can think of the Mulembas of this world, from all different parts of the country. And I think that was it.
On his 100th birthday, which falls on 28th April annually and is now a public holiday in Zambia, one wonders what KK Wamuyayaya would have said on his birthday. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
May the soul of our founding father, KK, rest in peace. Now, that was a gallant son of the soul of Zambia, Super Ken, KK11. Let me find out from you, Nelson, when you're doing that particular story. Remember, this is a legend. This is a founding father. This is our hero. What was really going through your mind?
What was really going through my mind at the time, I had an interview with one Bob Sichinga, just outside our studios, was the first thing first. One of my grandparents would say there was a song at some point that was a unifying factor in the Zambian society. And then, to some extent, the founding president was regarded as the president forever, KK Wamuyayaya. I think this was a saying that I found. And then I looked at a situation where, to some extent, we've seen that the country, especially, I should make mention that Zambia has been more of a politically charged country, where this particular politician will say something in line like that, and then the other one will come in and definitely say, look, this person, they were part of this administration, they did this, blah, 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 trying to paint each other black. But one quote for me that is interesting, and I did mention also even yesterday, that one of his sayings was, we're all equal before God, despite our differences, and we should actually live in humanity. Why? Okay. Because that shows in itself that peace, love, and unity should flourish, even if we've got different agendas, because we're enshrined under the motto, one Zambia, one nation. Because now, one thing also that has been topical is the fact that when you look at issues related to tribalism, nepotism, I think these are issues that have been talked about most of the times. When you hear somebody has been appointed in a particular position of influence, the first question that people are going to be asking is, which region is he coming from? And then you begin to hear talks to say, oh, simply because he's coming from a region where the president is coming from, or where he's linked to this family that is part of governance. This is the issue.
But I think most of the part, or most of the times, the tribal tag is normally thrown around by politicians.
Exactly.
And I feel we, the media, and the majority citizens have allowed politicians to play with us for so long, because every time it's an election, they dangle their tribal tag and we let them scot-free. This is the reason why I keep on saying we have strong men overseeing weak institutions that obviously by design they've decided to make them weak. Now, Nelson, if for instance somebody wants to go against our mantra, one Zambia, one nation, now President Hakainde Hichilema is saying one people, You get my point. So one Zambia, one nation, one people. You see, but you find that towards elections or during an election, politicians begin to churn out tribal talk, and these politicians are scot-free after causing so much damage. It's their generation that has got a problem. It's their generation that is preoccupied with tribal tags. As the new generation, we don't even know what tribalism is. For instance, you support Liverpool, I support Chelsea. We're able to sit on the same table. We are able to sit on the same bus and be able to laugh over a drink in that social place. But when it comes to politics, it's a different ballgame. People will start talking about tribe and all, which is not supposed to be the case.
And moreover, Joe, I think we've had discussions time and again where I've expressed myself in Lozi, I've expressed myself in Tonga,
yes,
Tumbuka, Bemba,
yes,
even Kaonde, even some one. You see, even some other languages that really are part of the country's,
because that's what we're known for, Zambia,
the country's agenda. And if we are one Zambia, one nation, we need to ensure that that motto is really pushed forward or advanced, because our forefathers, I think, they were not selfish. They were not really
that's the right word,
disadvantageous when they thought of coming up with one Zambia, one nation motto, because they knew that for us to develop as a country, they always need to ensure that we are united as one. And President Hakainde Hichilema is saying, one Zambia, one nation, one people.
You get, so it still continues and continues.
Exactly.
But because of selfish politicians, and I've said it times a number. Remember during the Komboka traditional ceremony of the people of Barotseland, and they invited
Chitumkulu.
Yes,
Mwina
Lubemba. You saw that traditional leaders, and by the way, even Paramount Chief Mukunu attended.
Yes.
So you see that traditional leaders are united because they understand how far we've come as a country, how far we've come as in uniting this country and coexisting as one people. But the problem comes in when a politician steps foot on a particular stage. They'll be saying, no, because I come from this side, you need to vote for me. Come on now. We should reach a point where a Tembo can go in Barotseland and be able to stand as member of parliament for Nalolo, for Mongo Central, and be able to be voted. We should be able to reach a point where a Zulu can go in Southern Province and be able to contest as a member of parliament and be able to be voted. We should reach a point where a smart dad should be able to go to Northwestern Province or even Northern Province Wapula and be able to contest in Bahati constituency or Kasama Central and be able to win, or even in Petaoke Central and be able to win. Not that no.
I was born from here. I'm your only son.
I'm your only son.
Who's not?
Who? We are all from Zambia.
Yeah, exactly.
You get my point. So we are all sons of the soul, and that's the agenda that we need to push. If, for instance, somebody from Northern can be able to contest in Cabo Central and be able to win, somebody from Eastern can be able to contest in Cabo Central and be able to win, what does that tell you? It tells you that anyone born in Zambia can be able to contest in any constituency and be able to win. You get my point. So this thing of saying this is our stronghold, no, this is our stronghold, it shouldn't even be there, because at the end of the day you are slowly dividing people. You are slowly giving an impression to the younger generation that if I come from this side, then my political inclination should be of people from this side, which is not supposed to be the case. One thing I appreciate about KK Nelson, I'll tell you, when people are employed in the civil service, okay, what you do is that if, for instance, you're coming from Barotseland, the western side of Zambia,
yes, they'll take you to Eastern Province.
They'll take you to Eastern Province. People from Eastern Province Bene Banda, Bene Dhaka, Bene Tembo, they'll be taken to Western Province.
Yeah.
If you're coming from the northern part, you'll be taken to Southern Province. Those from Southern Province, when Hajomboa, they'll be taken to northern. Just like that. You get my point. To actualize the one Zambia, one nation. Are we seeing that happening deliberately by the lawmakers or policymakers? Your guess is as good as mine. We recently had complaints coming from Northwestern Province where we were told indigenous children of this land were not given employment opportunities. They were not employed in Northwestern Province. They were not employed, reasons based on those that were employed. But the good thing is that people from, let's say, Copper Belt were coming into that province. However, they were not staying. They only come to register and then they go back. It's another story for another day, and obviously we'll be able to question Mr. Muyumbwa here when it comes to the issue of issues that have to do with teachers and their deployment and how they get to leave these workstations. But we need to give credit to Keke for striving so hard with his team, of course.
Yeah.
To make sure that yes. Now Lumino Mundia is of this world.
Exactly.
And wait, there's a name that I want. Scotta Winner. Arthur Winner. Arthur Winner, the late husband to the former vice president.
Yes.
Mama Inongewin.
Yes, we also have a veteran politician in Vernon Mwang.
Don't forget, he was 19. He was 19.
Yes.
Now come back to a 19-year-old of this century, of today. The 19-year-old of today. What is the 19-year-old of today doing? I'll tell you, Nelson. You're over 19 years. So it means that we, as the older brothers, we haven't done much to inspire our young brothers to aspire for leadership positions, because even us, we're not in any leadership positions. However, here's the thing. With limited education, limited universities, no internet access, we had KK at 44 becoming the president of Zambia. We had the late former president, the fourth Republican president, Rupia Banda. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Having influential positions
at a youthful age, somewhere 21, 19.
20? Is it 20?
Yes, appointed as ambassador.
Yes. Vijay, Vernon Mwanga, and you could see these people when they are reading their speeches, very eloquent. You know what I mean? So, but look at a 20-year-old of today. Look at a 30-year-old of today. The memes that they make on Facebook, when they go live, the things that they say.
The 30-year-old of today, they look like they're 50.
Why?
Simply because of there's this animal that has just rocked the nation.
What's that animal? Does it have a name?
It has so many names, but it can just be categorized under substance abuse. Because I've seen people that you're able to, but this man is energetic, this man can do something positive, but he moves on with a bottle, sniffing a bottle.
Yeah. Those things are happening, and we can't run away from that reality. Why? It's because those that have gone before us, maybe they haven't done much. Yeah, they haven't done much. If you look at the generation of KK, it was all about pulling each other up. You get my point.
But Joe, also, yes, it might be a generation where they're pulling each other's up. But now, I think the bone of contention is, Joe, for someone to pull you up, first thing first, they say life begins when you identify yourself. Exactly. You find that here's an individual that has not identified themselves. You have identified yourself, and you want to help this individual. But to them, it feels more like you want to fight them.
Allow me to say this. But you do remember that during KK and early days, early 90s, family relations were strong. Family systems were strong. Nowadays, it's you and your family, your nuclear family, you, your kids, you forget. You don't even know what your brother is doing. You don't even know what your sister is doing. You don't even know the names of your nieces, your nephews. You are only told to say, do you know that your nephew is now 2 years? You get my point. So at the end of the day, that is also contributing because you are lacking mentors. You are embedded into the internet, and obviously some of the feed that you get from there is not even productive to you, to your growth personally as an individual. You tend to find a solace in different places or unacceptable places. That's why you find that people are drinking too much, people are smoking too much, people are abusing alcohol and drugs too much because they're trying to fill a void. You know what I mean? They're trying to fill a void. So family systems are broken. So where do you go for mentorship? Who's going to guide you? You get my point. It's not a matter of saying when people are trying to help you, they're fighting you. No, there are people that fight you pretending like they are trying to help you. That we shouldn't run away. There are people that fight you pretending as if they want to help you. So now what do you do if you recognize that? You stay away.
Definitely. Let's get to move on, Joe. And one of the interesting story as we get to build up, tomorrow is World Labor Day.
Of course.
And people are getting to celebrate this auspicious day because it is one thing that also gets to raise awareness when it comes to issues of some of the labor laws that we have in the country. And one of the questions that lingers is are these labor laws, especially in Zambia, respected to the latter? And one of the concern really coming in from the Safety Management and Training Services Organization is the advocacy for government to enforce the existing laws on occupational safety and health of workers in the country. Organization Managing Director Helen Mwamba says several companies are not abiding to the country's safety laws due to lack of regular inspections. Let's get to look at this story as well as a story coming from the opposition Economic Freedom Fighters Party, who allege that the democratic status of the country in the UPND administration has signs of hypocrisy following the alleged prevention of opposition parties to hold political rallies. These are some of the two stories that we get to look at. Joe, on the other side, will be able to wrap up with some of the stories that we're zooming in as we await our guests to be with us this morning. Keep it on Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Occupational health and safety encompasses the social, mental, and physical well-being of workers. Successful occupational health and safety practice requires the collaboration and participation of both employers and workers in health and safety programs, and involves the consideration of issues relating to occupational medicine, industrial hygiene, toxicology, educational engineering safety, agroeconomics, and psychological safety. It is for this reason, Safety Management and Training Services (SMTS) says the country has good laws around safety and health of workers, but lacks adequate enforcement of these regulations. Speaking to Camnet News, SMTS Managing Director Helen Mwamba says the government must increase the number of inspectors that carry out inspections in institutions across the country to increase compliance.
Increase enforcement in Zambia. Zambia has got proper legal frame. We've got other policy procedures and acts in place, but we need a robust enforcement in implementing safety. Directors know their positions, know their legal position in that company. They just think, oh, I'm a director, and then that's it. But if we train directors and they come through, they really understand, say safety needs to come from the top, not from the bottom. You don't just delegate, you have to show it. Can enforce the safety or compliance in every company. We'll see more clients coming to us for compliance, and the circle will be complete.
And Group CEO Jamie Cliff says education systems need to be at the same level with industry so that students graduate with both aspects of the program they were pursuing.
Things that I see, I have a lot of mentees, we train a lot of people, we develop a lot of people in safety, health, and I see that there is a disconnect at the moment between industry and education. I'm not saying education is bad, the education in Zambia is excellent, but my question is, how well is it aligned with industry? And I've seen evidence of this where young people have come out of university with a degree and gone to get a job and just not had the life skills to be able to take on a sustainable position. And it's very difficult for our youth to be able to come out of university and go into a reputable organisation, because those reputable organisations want experience. With that experience comes salary, with a career. And it's very difficult to get onto that ladder because sometimes the education system, academia, doesn't prepare people for an industrial world. And one of the things I would like to see is government and industry, with the help of organisations like us or in adult education, to be able to work together in able to create a more sustainable career path.
As Zambia joins the world in commemoration of World Labour Day that falls on May 1st, there is need for occupational health and safety programs to be implemented to create a safe and healthy work environment for workers. Cherish Sibote, for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Arise on a bone of contention, and our biggest concern is a serious shrinking of political space under the new Dawn government. Right now, what we are seeing is unbelievable. We had President Hakainde Hichilema, who was elected on the premise that he will improve the democratic credentials of this country. But look at what he's doing today. Right now, as we are talking, he is in Nakonde having a rally. Yesterday, he had another one in Chinsali. But for now, 2.5 years, he has stopped us, all the opposition political parties, from having political rallies. What kind of a democracy is this? We are concerned because this is total hypocrisy, and in democracy, we need to have the rights of the people be allowed. He should allow us to give divergent views to the people. You cannot run a democratic country by using the police to stifle the rights of the opposition. This is unbelievable. We did not expect this from President Hakainde Hichilema, especially after he had gone through what he had gone through. We thought he would be a leader that would respect the rights in this country that are enshrined in our constitution. But this which is happening, where he can't allow the opposition to have political rallies, to meet. Every little time we have even a press briefing, he arrests us.
Thank you so much for still staying tuned to Camnet TV this morning, and we get to transition into our main interview, where we did indicate that we're going to have an interview with NUPE's executive president, and NUPES simply means the National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, as we get to look also at different or various issues pertaining to what we need to look out for in terms of the plight of teachers ahead of the 2024 Labor Day, and what exactly needs to be tackled, even as we get to also focus much on the United Nations development goal that focuses on ensuring that quality education and equal access is actually guaranteed by the year 2030, which is one of the agenda that the country subscribes to. And Mr. Myumba is in the studio with us. Good morning, sir.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good to have you back here on the breakfast show, and excitingly so, we are also having or discussing a time where we've seen that our academic calendar for children in school has been actually shortened due to the cholera situation that we had. We now have a 1-week holiday, meaning that by next week Monday, children have to resume back to school. Your perspective, maybe we started from there.
Okay. Thank you so much. You know, the reopening of schools was postponed twice. And on both occasions, the Minister of Education did mention that the first term is going to have only 1-week holiday. We made it clear then that 1 week holiday was not going to be enough for the children. And hitherto we have maintained that 1 week is not enough. More so that the following term, which is second term, is going to be longer than all the terms we have had by a week.
Okay.
Normal term is supposed to have 13 weeks.
Okay.
But this second term is going to have 14 weeks. Meaning the children will stay in school longer than they have stayed before. So this break 1 week does not really make the mind of a child rest. So it is like continuation from the 11 weeks they have learned, term 1, into the 14 weeks. And you know, too much of anything at times is bad. Because the children now can become rebellious. This is too much. They shouldn't feel being pushed, forced, doing things under duress. And we had proposed that we have 2 weeks holiday. Because moving from second term to third term, we have 3 weeks. So we were saying, let's get another week from that holiday that has got 3 weeks. So that we make the first holiday 2 weeks. And the second holiday, which is leading us into third term, again 2 weeks. That would have given enough time to the children to rest. And we did so knowing that, of course, third term must not be touched, because by then the Examinations Council of Zambia would have already designed their examination calendars. Okay. That's for grade 7s, grade 9s and grade 12s. The timetables. Yes. They would have already been done. And I think it was last week when the ECZ released their timetables. Exactly. So we didn't want to tamper with the third term. But second term, definitely, would have done so.
Okay, and what was the response? Obviously, you channeled that to the Ministry of Education. What was the response, Mr. Myumba?
You know, in most cases, when you advise or you talk, it's either people remain quiet or accuse you of being opposition. So even as simple as telling somebody, no, the way you are going is not good. Take this one. Just there, you differ. But we cannot stop talking. We'll continue talking. Because we are stakeholders. And we are in our country. We are doing this work within our country. And this was the trend even for those that were in office but left it 2-3 years ago. Okay? We are talking about the patriotic front here. You tell them this is not the way to go. They accuse you of being red. This time around you talk, you're accused of being green.
Why is it like that? Politics, why is this country a politically charged country? Politics is now infusing teacher organizations as well. So does it mean that when you're seeing something wrong, Mr. Myumba, as a major stakeholder, you should fold your arms and keep quiet?
That's the implication. Because when you talk, you are labeled. But you know, this is our country. All of us belong here. And I think our umbilical cords were buried here. So we have the right to talk, we have the right to advise. Especially when you were given the mandate by the people. If the mandate was simply usurped using your own powers, you would have understood. But people gave you. And people get. So we are saying, the people, we who gave the mandate, must advise so that we move together. Because for us to give you the mandate, it means we wanted to journey together. We wanted to move together. So that even as we are journeying, we are able to converse. We are able to discuss. We are able to debate without lumping accusations and all that. So this is what we are saying. We will not stop talking. We will continue talking. Because we believe up to now that this 1 week, you can imagine some children were arriving home from boarding schools maybe before yesterday. Sunday. Today is Tuesday. Yes, Sunday. And yesterday they woke up, realized, oh, today is Monday, holiday. Before they could even finish discussing things with the little siblings or older siblings at home, the parents are saying, tomorrow, meaning today, we need to go to town to start buying your groceries. So that you can...
Over the weekend.
Over the weekend, you need to get back. So, it's about all this. And here, we haven't even talked about the teacher. We haven't talked about the parent in terms of resting. We are talking about the child. Because if we are talking about the teacher and the parent, we may sound as if we are too remote to the issue of education.
Oh, okay.
Are you getting it? Because I know some people have argued to say 1 week is not enough for parents to prepare, but 2 weeks. Okay? But parents were informed way in advance that it was going to be 1 week. Are you getting it? So parents should have started preparing way before schools closed. And if one argued like that, it is a sound argument. But we are talking about the brain, the mind of a child.
I was about to come to that. The mind of a child, psychologically, what impact does this decision have on the mind of the child? Let me ask you this question as a follow-up question, Mr. Myumba. As stakeholders, when you're coming up with such decisions, do you consider the mind of a child, the psychological warfare of a child, when you begin to come up with these policy directives? Oh, we're just going to have 1 week. It ends there. No more arguments. Let's go with that. Do you consider the psychological impact your decisions will have on that child?
First of all, even when they were postponing, we were not consulted. We were not being consulted as the stakeholders. All we heard was that the Council of Ministers, because at that time they had come up with a Council of Ministers, okay? We are consulted,
okay,
and this is the position they came up with. Now, it was like government consulting government.
Because stakeholders.
Because if you say Minister of Education consulted the Council of Ministers, it's like you are saying Cabinet made the decision.
In essence, yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So before that decision could have been made or mooted on about by Cabinet, it should have been subjected to debate. And this debate should have involved all stakeholders in the education. This is how we intend to have our school calendar run for this year. What's your input? And like you sit, then it's on news. No, the Council of Ministers has advised.
So you were caught unaware.
We were caught unawares. Yes, we were caught unawares. And here we are talking about the mind of a child. Even an adult. I think this is something that everyone knows of. Okay? You can't simply have 11 weeks of learning. You rest for 1 week. And then you have 14 weeks of learning. Uninterrupted 14 weeks. It will be too much for the child. Education is not punishment. And it shouldn't be enjoyed. It should be enjoyed. Because school days are happy days.
Okay. So still on the psychological part, no, so let me ask this question. I'm concerned about the little ones. I have nieces and nephews. I'm very concerned. Mr. Myumba, I read somewhere that psychologically a child, if you are forcing them to do things, or if you are forcing them to learn a particular subject, their mind just locks up and then they begin to hate this subject and they'll never ever be receptive to this subject, no matter how simple it might seem, no matter how hard it might seem, but their mind just locks up. Is that true? Let me find out.
Yes, it is. It is true. That's why when you are dealing with a child, give a child enough time to play. Are you getting it?
Okay.
Give them enough time to play. Give them enough time to rest. Then also enough time to learn.
Okay.
They say, oh, wait, no play makes Jack a dull boy. Okay? How dull? Because it becomes boring and they develop some resistance towards it. Even, you know, some rebellious spirit just comes in, kicks in. So you might think you are teaching that particular class and yet the children are somewhere else mentally, absent-minded altogether. And that is our fear. Our fear. If the next term was going to be 10 weeks, would have understood.
Okay.
That, okay, it's shorter than has been the trend. But 14 weeks is a very long period.
That's too much.
It's a very long period. The mind is designed in such a way that it has some space only up to a certain point. Thereafter, it switches off.
Completely.
Completely. And once it switches off, you have challenges. Teachers, yes, can teach. If you want, even the whole year throughout, without resting. But it is only for the good of this particular child. Even universities, where you have relatively older, learners, there are breaks and enough breaks. Yes. At times, even within the semester.
Yes.
Are you getting it? Yes. You are given start breaks. 2 weeks, just for the brain to refresh, so that it can. Because the brain works like the body. When you get fatigued, Joe, you can't take any more work.
It's done.
You will just be pretending you are working, and yet you are not working.
Memory full.
Correct.
So, Mr. Myumba, you are of the view that this decision really is not more of affecting the teachers because they're able to compromise on their lesson plans, but the huge burden goes to the pupils.
Yes, the huge burden goes to the pupils. In as much as we are representing our teachers, and we could have had a myriad of arguments to also rescue teachers from this 1 week break. Remember, most of the teachers are studying. Yeah, and as we are talking, they have left their workstations. They have gone to the universities.
Yes.
This is the period they do residential.
Residential.
Are you getting it?
Yes.
Yeah, residential. So the question is, immediately they closed, they left. What if most of these universities overlap? Who will receive the children in those schools and all that? Because we feel there wasn't a synchronization of programs. Others are writing exams this particular holiday.
Because of lack of consultation.
That's the thing. That's the thing. So we see also some disturbance on the part of the teachers. But even though, teachers have got what they call 0 week, the week before reopening.
Okay.
During which they do all the preparations and put things in place. So even in their case, this is how it has been now. Like closing, Monday was a holiday yesterday. So today they are back in school and they are supposed to be doing that. But where are they? They are in universities.
Universities, yes.
Now let's talk to issues relating to the condition of teachers. I know the argument basically would be on the aspect of the reintroduction of free education, where we've seen that an influx of pupils have gone back to school and against some of the dilapidated infrastructures that are there, although also improvements have been seen through the Constituency Development Fund. But issues relating to lack of enough desks have been prominent. Lack of having a balanced teacher-pupil ratio also has been a challenge. How is NUPES advocating for the need to have a more balanced way that is going to ensure that the teacher's condition are also safeguarded and the pupil also condition is also safeguarded?
Yeah, without taking away anything from that question, Nelson, if there is a sector this government has performed in, is the education sector. And I think they need to be commended.
Okay.
Yeah. They need to be commended because you can tell where we were 2 or 3 years ago and where we are now.
Okay.
That indeed there's progress.
Okay.
Because where there's progress, there's nothing you can do. Apart from telling somebody, keep it up, what you're doing is commendable. Look, this free education, of course, has brought back children that were in homes. Children whose future would have been curtailed at that point. But now they have been given an opportunity to be what they have always probably dreamed to be. They are back in school. And at that time, at that point, the critics were on the issue of children sitting on the floor. We saw, especially last year, I think some tremendous work being put in ensuring that desks are procured. Of course, using the Constituency Development Fund. Even the president mentioned that I don't want to see any child sitting on the floor by the end of December. It was December last year.
Yes, yes.
Okay? So we saw that competition. And for the first time, Joe Nelson, we saw a situation where desks were being procured locally. If a constituency is, or a school in that constituency is procuring desks, it would be within the constituency. Previously, we would see a situation or a trend where you get desks from another country, they are shipped to Dar es Salaam, and then you pick them from Dar es Salaam using trucks. They come to Lusaka. You receive them at the Ministry of Education headquarters,
and you start distributing.
And you even have some form of, a program to welcome them. Desks have arrived, fanfare. Then you realize, okay, some of these desks are supposed to go to Nakonde. Now, they have already passed Nakonde, they have come to Lusaka, then you want to put them again on the tracks to go to Nakonde. So, see, look at the cost. We were not being reasonable, and that's a fact. We were not being reasonable. So, what I'm trying to say here is that with the procurement of desks from within the constituencies, money has been, of course, localized, paid to the people within the constituencies. Desks have been taken into these schools, but that is not to say the need has been met, Nelson. It hasn't yet been met. What we are looking at is the desire to ensure that things are done. And in that area, a lot has been done. We have seen that using the same Constituency Development Fund, a number of schools, Nelson Joe, have not only been built but also expanded. There are some places that had makeshift classroom blocks.
Yes.
Where you see some mud and paws, grass, children at times even learning under the trees. But we've seen that there are classroom blocks that have been built to replace these. That is a plus. Housing units for teachers have been or are being built, which is also a plus. But that is not to say challenges are not there or the challenges have been completely ameliorated. We still have a myriad of challenges. For example, in the construction or provision of accommodation to the teachers, our advocacy has been and we will continue to advocate this. Government is supposed to partner with the local businessmen and women. We have people that have got money. If you are to go to places like Nkema, you go to places like Kaoma, Lundazi, Gwembe, go to Chienge, go to Chavuma, you will find big businessmen there. These are the people you simply sit down with. Vane, we have a project to provide, and in this case, it cannot only just be teachers, but all civil servants in that particular locality. Businessmen, first of all, you start with those that are within. We have got land, and we can get this land from our traditional leaders. What we want you to do is construct simple but decent housing units for our workers, so that when they come, they are not renting from villages. They have got decent housing units,
and they don't need to run away.
That's the thing. This is the partnership. Remember, we pay them housing allowance.
Yes.
Every month. So that housing allowance will be coming to you.
No, that's a good idea, Mr.
That is business for you.
Yes.
We simply agree that here the rates will be like this. And then you make money. We ensure our civil servants rent your places.
Okay, decent accommodation.
Yes, decent accommodation. And most of these people that are being employed, they are bachelors, spinsters. They don't have big families. So even when they enter this house that is 2-bedroom, it's enough for them.
It's enough.
It's enough.
They belong to the single association or something.
Correct. That's the thing. And then there's clean drinking water. A clinic is near. How else can one leave that particular area? Because if the government takes it upon themselves to say, no, we are going to construct, it will take years.
Forever.
it will take forever.
I hope members of parliament are listening to this, because these are the initiatives. In fact, that's even free advice.
Yes, this is free advice.
You need to be paid for that, Mr. Myumba.
I need actually to be viewed as a consultant.
Yes.
Are you getting
Yes.
it? I need to
use that knowledge.
Correct. And to tell the truth, our business people in this country would want to partner with government.
Exactly.
Because government is the biggest business entity.
Yes.
That one would want to enter in business with.
Yes. Now, Mr. Myumba, having given that direction and having acknowledged that most of the teachers being employed are young, as spinsters and bachelors. Now, there was a policy direction of reuniting couples. You know, fiancé, those that are married, those that want to marry and the like. How far with this policy, Mr. Myumba, according to you? Is it being actualized? The last time we did an underground investigation, we found that the ministry was overwhelmed, and this particular exercise was somehow put on hold.
Yeah, the policy.
Let's find out.
The policy was good, and here I need to mention this. You can't blame the policymakers.
Okay.
Because they simply said, we want to reunite the couples. Okay. Now, over time, what came to the fore was that some were saying, you can't force us to reunite.
The same teachers?
Yeah, no, workers, remember? Yeah, it's not only teachers, it's public service workers. Yes, others would come out like that. We are okay the way we are. We don't have to be forced to get together. Are you getting it?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Then the other one was that most of them thought the reuniting would mean, if, for example, one is in Lusaka, the other one is Labushimanda. It is about moving the one from Labushimanda to Lusaka, and not vice versa. Are you getting it? So they sat and said, but why should I move from Lusaka to Labushimanda? Because this policymaker says that's where the vacancy is. In Lusaka, there isn't any vacancy. So that one can't move to Lusaka.
So you need to
go. So you need to go to Labushimanda. And this one refuses to go to Labushimanda.
Oh, no.
So that's what I'm saying. It's difficult to blame the policymaker. Otherwise, this particular policy has not worked to the expectations. And people are still separated one from the other.
Okay. And therein again comes the issue of salary upgrades, Mr. Myumba. Like you rightly put it, we have our teachers, for instance, in universities right now, doing their residentials. They have upgraded to master's level, but they're still getting the same salary of a class teacher.
You know, this has been the elephant in the room for a long time.
Okay.
This has been...
But it's frustrating, Mr. Myumba.
Very, very frustrating and morale dampening.
Yes.
Because there is no way, for example, I was employed, let's say, 20 years ago as a diploma holder. And 10 years ago, I obtained my degree.
Yes, sir.
I have been serving for the past 10 years as a degree holder, but getting the salary of a diploma holder.
Isn't that frustrating?
Very frustrating. Then today, the employer employs some of the children I was teaching. Because these graduated, went to university. Are you getting it?
Oh, yes.
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 I've been working for 20 years. Are you getting it? For 20 years. Most of the pupils I handled are back in the system as teachers.
We're getting the same salary.
No. They went to Unza, they went to Open University, they went to these other universities that have come with a degree, and they have been employed as degree holders. Are you getting?
Wow.
Sent to my school. where they were, taught from, where they were pupils, and they come as degree holders. They are getting more than I'm getting. With my experience, with my input, my sacrifice, and all that. And if there's an opportunity for one to become head of department, it's this pupil who is known as a degree holder in the system who takes up this position as HOD.
Wow.
Now you can imagine.
This is what
This is what is happening. And that's why some of us, immediately we start talking about these issues, we become emotional.
It is an emotional issue, yes.
I can't lie, Joe Nelson. Last year, I just attended negotiations for the first day. The other days, I gave them to someone else to say, I think, handle these negotiations, because they are not simply moving according to what I believe in. And we wrote to the Teaching Service Commission and copied the Minister of Education and the Public Service Management Division that for us as a union, our belief is that whatever monies have been kept somewhere for the increase of salaries, the first thing we need to look at is equity. First of all, let's push all those that have degrees into the degree scales.
Okay.
And then thereafter look at how much has remained. Because there is no way you can continue pretending you are increasing the salary of this particular degree holder who is getting the salary of a diploma holder. Because if I'm a diploma holder of a lower salary scale and you are a degree holder, you have a higher salary scale, but I have a degree, your 10% will be more than my 10%.
Yes, yes.
And some of these people, Joe, are about to retire. And the calculation of one's package is based on the scale. So this particular teacher says, look, I'm about to retire in a lower salary scale.
But I've accumulated.
But look at this degree. Of what use is it now?
So, Mr. Mumba, at that point, does it seem pointless to upgrade yourself, go to school, study further when you are still in the system, or it's more advantageous when you are outside the system, you come with your degree or with your master's?
When you are in the system, definitely we can't advise people against upgrading, against furthering their studies. They have to further their studies. They have to get their degrees. They have to get their masters, PhDs. Who knows? Tomorrow things may not be the same. You need to be ready. But it is actually better for those that are moving in with degrees. Because those is automatic. Once you are employed, you are in the correct salary scale.
But what happens to this teacher, Mr. Mumba? I spoke to my former teacher. I met him at Manda Hill some time back, and I was like, sir, you still look the same, and he was very open with me. He told me who's going to promote you in government. That's what he told me. Do I know anybody? So who's going to employ me?
You see?
And so, it was on his residentials by then.
You see?
Yes. So he was like, I'm going to school, but who's even going to employ me?
You see?
To promote me in government. I don't know anybody.
And Joe Nelson, if there is a ministry that has got very few promotional positions, it's a Ministry of Education.
Why, Mr. Mumba?
It's because of the way the structure has been designed.
Okay.
And that's why some of us have been advocating for the expansion of the structure. That the structure must be expanded.
Okay.
Because look, a school is going to have about 120 teachers, but only one head, one deputy,
yes,
and just a few HODs.
Yes.
And you have to wait for these to die. Okay, or to retire for you to get there.
Because when they transfer, somebody else comes
when someone else comes in. So even when they retire or they die, someone else again might come in and you just be there languishing. Waiting. Okay? So the issue of saying, no, I also want to get there is not there. Unless the one who has been promoted as Debs is your friend.
Okay.
Unless the one who has been promoted as PO is your friend. Then you may have that, but these days even friends will ignore you.
Oh no.
You start complaining, this one behaves as if he doesn't know me. We were working together. He knows my capability and all that. So this is how it is. And we are talking about reality here, Joe.
Mr. Bimba, let's also get to wind up. We know tomorrow is the World Labor Day, and obviously workers across the world are going to also be celebrating this very important day.
Yes.
How should teachers be celebrated, especially on this day, and vis-a-vis some of the challenges that you've highlighted? How should they be addressed going forward?
Okay, actually the theme for this year's Labor Day is, and I quote, building resilience, workers at the heart of Zambia's economic recovery. I repeat, building resilience, workers at the heart of Zambia's economic recovery. End of quote. So workers at the heart of economic recovery.
Okay.
So this also calls for workers to be hardworking. Because when you say building a resilience, workers at the heart of Zambia's economic recovery, it means this worker is supposed to show how hardworking they are to produce more in order to recover the economy.
But they also need to be motivated.
Yes, I'll come there.
Okay.
So this is what the theme is about, that this worker must work hard.
Okay.
Always it should be about, what have I achieved today? Even as you go to bed, have I done what I should have done today?
Okay.
And to tell the truth, Joe Nelson, if we are to recover our economy, we need to change our mindset as Zambians. Regardless of who we are. Can be you are at Camnet TV, you are selling your own, merchandise at market, whether there are chairs, there are tables, there are fruits, there are vegetables. The question is, how do you relate with your customers?
Very important.
What time do you even report for work? If you have a shop, what time do you open? And when you open, what do you do? Do you leave it unattended to whilst you are escorting someone, and when a customer comes, they have to start waiting for you to get back? If you are in the office, do you simply drape your jacket on the chair and you go for lunch at 10 hours, come back at 14, 15 hours to knock off, to tell people, you see me tomorrow, I have no time today? We are looking at attitude.
Yes.
When you are a farmer, are you producing to feed yourself and also others? So it's all about mindset, how hardworking we are supposed to be. This is what this speaks to.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, remember, this particular worker is like a wheel moving. The question is this wheel oiled?
They need to be oiled.
Are you getting it? Because for this wheel to run without challenges, there's supposed to be constant oil. Or else it will start squeaking.
Yes.
Okay, to malfunction. It may even jam. And once it jams, that's the end. What we are trying to say here is, for example, these workers, the teachers who've talked about that haven't been upgraded. Who knows? Maybe they're just pretending to work because the morale is not there. Okay? So for them to be at the heart of economic recovery of the country, let them be taken where they're supposed to be. Those that need to be given what is due to them, give them.
Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Issues of equity, fairness must be looked into. So what we are saying is that, can we motivate these workers? It's only when they are motivated that they can even put in more than they are putting in.
Okay.
Because you can't really flog a dead horse.
No, it's impossible.
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
So even as we celebrate, what we are saying is, Those that are not accommodated, they need decent accommodation for them to wake up and say, okay, I have the confidence. Because how can you have the confidence when children see that where you are coming from is worse than where they are coming from? How do you inspire them? How do you inspire them?
That education is important.
That education is important. If I am spending my nights in the corner of a classroom owing to lack of enough accommodation in that particular place, and the children can peep and see where I'm sleeping, just because I put some curtains and all that, can they be motivated to become like me?
Absolutely no.
They might not be motivated.
It's impossible, actually.
It's impossible. So, children, regardless of where they are, even in rural areas, they should understand that, oh, look, it's only at the size of Madame's place where you find some solar.
Yes.
Where there's some music playing.
Yes.
Look at the breakfast they are having. You can even get the smell of milk from afar.
Yes.
Look at the bread. Look at how you are motivating the children. Because when the child goes home, looks at the thatched hut and all that, then says, no. I don't want this life. I want that life. And when you leave your house as a teacher, you sit with the children, you tell them to work hard, then they realize, oh. So it is education that makes people, live like this. I need to work hard. That's what it's supposed to be.
Okay, let's get to pick this score even as we get to conclude. As we go, you are through to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Hello?
Yebo, Mauka Bwanji.
Hello?
Hello?
Okay, it seems like the TV set was on. Mr. Mumba, we are going. Your concluding remarks. That was a very powerful submission, by the way, but your concluding remarks.
Okay. My concluding remarks, one, Zambians, we are the ones to develop ourselves. No one is going to develop us. So, when you are doing something for yourself, make sure you are doing it the best of your ability. And also for others. Meanwhile, let's not stress ourselves.
Okay.
Government messages, you need to be on top of things. Because you are the touch bearers. Show people where the people want to go or where you think they should go. Don't simply make pronouncements in the air. Stick to the same. Climate change is upon us. What we have seen may simply be a synopsis. Okay? A small thing of the big things to come. We may have had some rains this season. Next season we may not even have a drop
of rains.
The question is, how are we looking into the issues of adaptation and mitigation? That is very key, because we can't continue, Nelson Joe, seeing tracks of charcoal. Okay, trees are being cut every day. When will these forests rejuvenate? Because there are no trees. We have allowed trees to be cut, but at the same time we are complaining.
And people have built on old aquifers.
That's the thing again.
Forest 27. Let us not forget that.
You see? Okay. Then at the same time, we are not planting trees. Are we not killing our children? Yes, we can survive ourselves for the next 10 years or so. But by then, even water will be difficult to be found by our children. What will they be drinking? That would be my conclusion.
The next generation.
The next generation. Our children. They will case us. They were here. They never did anything. They were even able to drink water. They had trees. But they finished, depleted everything. Because when you have no trees, you will not have water. Even now, just to find the underground water bores, it has become a challenge. 10 years from now, it will be a different story. The question is, government, where are you taking us? Give us policy direction. No cutting of trees. Let's plant trees. Let's live like this. That is what we need right now.
Proper roadmap.
Yes.
Okay. That's Mr. Victor Myumba for you, Nupe's executive president, putting his foot down and being blunt as always. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome, Joe.
Okay. Nelson?
It has been really an interesting conversation, and we're pretty much sure that you've picked one or two things of the submissions that have been made by the executive president all the way from Nupez, where we're talking all issues relating to the teachers as well as the reopening date that is scheduled for the 16th of May 2024. That is next week, Monday. But tomorrow is a big day for almost every worker here in Zambia, as we also get to join the rest of the world in celebrating World Labor Day. And he did speak to that and what he would like really to see. It has been Nelson Zulu as well as Javel or Joe Simata as we discussed everything teachers as well as looking at the plight of teachers. And thank you so much, you are major stakeholders, for being tuned to Camnet TV on this particular date, and as well as making all those submissions. It's unfortunate that we're unable to actually look at some of the comments on our Facebook page, but we due to time, and we do know that Kingsley Majida all the way from Mazabuka and the rest that always follow were glued, and we are glad that you had your time just to do it that way. Keep it on Camnet. Remember that Joe will be joining you in the afternoon with a lunchtime cafe, and it is only on Camnet TV, not just another channel where you get to get the best of the best in community content. It's a wrap for now. Bye bye.